On this week's show, a Liberty pitcher hears his name called in the MLB Draft, and more awards coming on in for Lady Flames softball.
Plus, we'll share the story on how former thrower Naomi Mojica is helping international students here at LU. You're watching Flames Central, and it starts now.
Yes, it's the middle of July. No, Liberty athletes haven't stopped their winning ways. It's a good time to be a Flame. It's also a good time to join us for another Flame Central. As always, she's Emily Austin. I'm Matt Warner.
Matt, so much to talk about on today's show, including some love for some Lady Flames softball and a huge win on the track. But first, we have to start with some Liberty baseball. Yeah, Mikey Tepper wasn't a Flame for long, but he made some noise in his one season on the mountain. So much so that he was selected this week in the Major League Baseball draft. Tepper, who transferred to LU from Mississippi State prior to the 2022 season, was selected by the Washington Nationals in the 15th round. The right-hander showed some flashes this past year with the Flames. Twice he recorded 13 strikeouts in a game, and for the season he would finish fourth in the ASUN in strikeouts per 9 innings. With his selection, Liberty has now had 75 players taken in the draft during the program's 50 years of existence. And the Flames have had at least one player drafted every season since the year 2000, with the exception being the condensed COVID draft in 2020. Matt, more from the Diamonds. Softball season may be over, but it's always award season for the Lady Flames. Head coach Dot Richardson was honored as the VASID State Coach of the Year for the second time in her coaching career, while Caroline Hudson was named the State Player of the Year and Carly Keeney was voted as the State Pitcher of the Year. Keeney and Hudson, along with shortstop Devin Howard and outfielder Rachel Roop, were all named to the All-State First Team, while outfielder KK Madre was second-team honors.
All right, let's head to Nigeria, where Liberty hurdler Prosper Ekperere claimed the national championship in the 110 hurdles. Ekperere did so at the time of 13.66 seconds. That's a new lifetime best and the best ever for a Liberty hurdler. This is the second national championship ever for the rising junior, but it's his first title at the senior level.
Staying on the topic of track and field and international athletes, when Lady Flame thrower Naomi Mojica came to the United States from Mexico, she didn't waste any time etching her name in the Liberty record books. Between the indoor and outdoor track and field seasons, she won 9 straight conference titles in the shot put. That's 5 straight years of dominating the event for LU. But today, she has a new role on the mountain, and she's finding how it could be just as rewarding in a different way.
It has always been my dream to come to USA for college.
Naomi Mojica came to the U.S. from Mexico to compete for Liberty track and field.
I did shot put and hammer throw and weight throw.
But when Naomi first arrived at LU, she realized that she was short on many necessities your average student takes for granted.
Coming here, I didn't know much about what should I bring. So I mainly brought just like clothes. It was really hard because I just had literally like my travel pillow that I had in the plane, and I was sleeping with that for like probably like 1 week or something like that.
Naomi would eventually find everything she needed and eventually conclude an accolade-filled athletic career. It was then that she would move into a role as an assistant student athlete coordinator, and where a question from a colleague sparked an idea.
What if other student athletes, international student athletes, are like in the same page that you were? And I was like, yeah, maybe we can put like something together so they feel more comfortable and more welcoming.
That was when the welcome bag for international students was born.
What comes in the bag, we have shampoo, conditioner, soap, we have a razor, we have deodorant, and then we put like just essentials for school, like supplies for school. Like we put 2 notebooks, pencils, highlighters, pens. But we also tell them that if they need like any bedding, like pillow, or just any like essentials to sleep or anything that they need, we're always able to provide all of that stuff for them.
Naomi is drawing on her experience and now using it to enrich the lives of so many athletes who come to Liberty.
Since I'm like bilingual, I'm able to communicate with student athletes from Colombia, Puerto Rico. ¿Cómo estás, Mica? ¿Qué tal el entrenamiento? ¿Cómo va?
Acabo de terminar.
Eso, bien con todo, ¿eh? Ciao. And that makes them feel more comfortable too. Like, if they need any help, they know they can come with me, and I'm able to help them with like anything they need. So I love that.
So great seeing Naomi make a difference here on the mountain. Another person making an impact is football head strength and conditioning coach Chad Scott. You may have seen some of his fun-filled themed workouts with the football team on social media. And trust me, he brought the same energy and excitement to the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. But we also went deep into how he tries to positively impact these young men on a daily basis.
What do you think is the biggest lesson learned from whether it's an athlete or something from this game through your years of doing this?
Man, I tell you, is honestly, don't judge a book by its cover for athletes. And I say that because, especially in today's day with a lot of mental health stuff, you know, some kids, and the main focus behind our program and Coach Chavez' program is relationships. And literally getting to the core of who they are, not as a football player, but who they are as a human being. And you're going to have kids, you're going to have young men walk through, and they're going to look like everything's great. They're going to mask things. And if you don't have any kind of relationship on them, there's going to be some cues that you can see, and you can kind of dive into them personally and really help them out in some hard situations. Mm-hmm. You know, there's going to be some guys that they're going to struggle with family. They're going to be struggling from what their future looks like. And for them to know that myself, our staff, and everybody on the football staff is somebody that they can go to and have a real conversation with, and that we care for them as who they are, not what they can do, you know, I think that's the biggest thing.
Our interview with Coach Scott, hilarious, educational, just plain fun. You're going to want to hear it. And you're going to want to hear our podcast every single week. Emily, Joe Yock, when he's not vacationing, and myself bring you a new podcast every Monday talking all things Liberty Athletics. And you can find the podcast in all the usual places, or if you're a visual learner, you can watch it on the Liberty Flames YouTube channel. All right, time to take a break, but coming up next, an incredible story you don't want to miss on a former Flame who's keeping his faith without sight.
Plus, we take you outdoors for this week's Out of the Office. Find out who we're hitting the trails with next.
At the fence, leaping! Wow! The 5, pylon, he's in!
We should go to the beach and just sit there and do LUA. No. My name is Chris Jordan.
My name is Jennifer.
One of the benefits of LUA when we were investigating it versus perhaps a private school or something is the cost and accessibility. You know, is if you have access to the internet, you can get right on and do this at any time.
I think too that, like we were talking about, the teachers being able to contact you and say like, hey, you're behind, or if you do need some extra help with this, and they're very willing to help you do whatever you can to get back on track. Not that it ever happened with our kids, but you know, most definitely happened.
You know, for our family, not only was the pandemic going on and the whole world shifting around, we moved in the middle of that, moved from one state to another state, but we didn't skip a beat when it came to the schooling. And so the flexibility of LUA was an exceptional option for us.
So you're looking for a university that has anything you could possibly need.
Anything?
You want a place that has the programs you want to study.
I think I'm going to sign up for the fashion design program.
All right, a place with state-of-the-art facilities.
And who doesn't love big-time sports?
Somewhere you can hike, slide, climb, and most importantly, eat. And all that with a great view? Yeah, I think I know a place.
God's calling for your life can be specific. And at Liberty, we are committed to equipping you to pursue that calling. Choose from more than 350 unique programs of study, or design your own major through interdisciplinary studies, and be confident your major is the perfect fit. No matter how specific your calling, you'll find a program of study to match at Liberty University and become your best as a champion for Christ.
Welcome back to Flame Central. Nearly 20 years ago, former Liberty football player Matt Sherwood worked on Wall Street, and just as the saying goes, New York, the city that never sleeps. Neither did he, working around the clock, until one day everything changed. But during this challenging time, instead of running away from God, he leaned in closer and had faith without sight.
I'll never know why I'm going to be blind for the rest of my life, but I know there is a plan and there's a reason. As hard as it is to say, when I look back and instead of being angry and frustrated, I realize I am blessed.
Switch gears and talk about what's been a remarkable week in the stock market.
My workday was waking up at 6:30 in the morning, getting to the city.
The Dow Jones is up 60%.
8:30, economic data. Market opens at 9:30, trading throughout the day. The European close, which would happen around 11:30 a.m., trading there until 4 p.m. to close in New York.
Could market set new records?
Get home for Australia's Open at 6 or 7, Tokyo Open between 7 and 8, go to sleep around 10, wake up before 1 for the close in Tokyo, trade the close in Hong Kong at 4, and then go back to bed for a couple hours.
Matt Sherwood was a young Wall Street trader. And for many years, that was just a typical day.
That's one of the biggest blessings I've gotten from God, is the ability to work relentlessly and work smart and hard. That certainly helped in Wall Street, right? Because that's what's demanded of you.
Matt's merciless work ethic didn't develop overnight. It was homegrown and nurtured on the farm in upstate New York.
I grew up as a farmhand, so I certainly did a lot on the farm, throw hay bales and do milking in the morning. And then I'd go to a restaurant and wash dishes at night. In high school, I was working nights, putting in flooring. I did a lot of odd one-off jobs. I cleared asbestos once, windows, painting. But the only job I quit was slaughtering chickens. Unfortunately, I did that when I could see.
In the fall of 2003, Matt was awarded an academic scholarship to Liberty University. At the same time, he earned a spot on the football team as a walk-on, fulfilling a childhood dream of playing college football.
If you work hard and you love sports, they go hand in hand. I love those times. From the practice field to the game field, and the opportunity to put the cleats on and get out there, I really loved it.
After graduating early with a bachelor's and an MBA, Matt would take a job at Morgan Stanley.
We traded all asset classes, so think of stocks, bonds, credit, rates, currencies. And in many ways, it felt like being on a football field again, because taking risk, can play with your stomach a little bit, make your stomach turn, make you a little nervous. And it felt like, getting on the field before kickoff.
Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate.
You're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure, Yahoo down.
When you're managing money, you're looking to have P&L, right? Profit and loss. You want incremental growth, right? You want to incrementally make money or with the lowest volatility as possible. And at this time, it was extremely volatile.
This is an extraordinary period for America's economy. We are in the midst of a serious financial crisis.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
And you saw an entire, subprime mortgage asset class going to default. You saw banks' balance sheets being, getting crumbled. Those times were very stressful.
Economists called it the most serious financial crisis since the Great Depression of 1929. But for Matt, a more personal crisis was on the horizon.
It was a Wednesday, it was just part of life, right? I was waking up, going to brush my teeth, and I looked at the mirror. There was a dot on the mirror. And as I tried to wipe the dot away, the dot was everywhere I looked. I decided that I needed to just go to work. And I worked throughout the day. But the whole time, I would look at different parts and there's this dot wherever I'm looking. So I'm really looking kind of outside of the dot, around it. And it's literally just a bright, shining dot. You know, getting ready to get up the next day to go to work and went to look at the mirror again. And the dot was the size of a quarter. Didn't say anything to anyone. And mind you, I'm young, I'm 24. So, a team member on the desk helped, enlarge all of my screens for me.
Matt would continue to work throughout the day and evening. The next morning, he stepped in front of the mirror again.
And that's when I couldn't see my face or shoulders. And that was frustrating. Looking in the mirror and not seeing your face, and I haven't seen my face since then. I remember getting in my car. I really do recall getting beeped at because I went through a red light to get to the train. Got to the train station, went to the city. Remember just having trouble just walking, doing just normal daily things. When I sat at my desk and put my password in, I looked at the screens, I couldn't see anything. Certainly just praying what's going on, and praying for God to be with me. A retina specialist saw me, an ophthalmologist, and it was very matter of fact. You are legally blind today. There's nothing you can do. You're blind. And that was August 15th, 2008. I was very nervous to be blind. It was tough. At the time, I was just trying to figure out just the day-to-day. Sleep. So even if I close my eyes now and cover them, and it's just a bright light. It's like staring at the sun. I just realized that I have to be positive. There's nothing I could do. I can't worry about what I can't control. And just need to trust God. We took a flat screen TV that we converted into a computer monitor, looked at different magnifying glass softwares, and I actually was back at work 1 week to the day after I was told I'm blind for life. And I'm blessed that I have a tiny bit of peripheral vision, so I can't see images, so no pictures, the graphics won't work. But I look at, words in contrast. Work was probably a great escape, but I must have ran into about 20, scaffolding pulls on the way to work and tripped and fell downstairs. And particularly in those first couple of years, bumps and bruises were just part of walking. I was coming home from the Long Island Railroad during a horrible, horrible thunderstorm. I was trying to move as fast as I could with a cane, and unfortunately I went straight into a telephone pole that had nails sticking out for flyers. I woke up in like a wet gutter with blood in my mouth, and I realized I need to do things differently. Chris has been wonderful for my life and for my family. Good boy. Let's go. Thought the dog would slow me down. Testing the dog, I'm blessed.
Good boy, forward. Over left.
And now I have, a black Lamborghini and Chris.
Let's go.
In many ways, my story is a little bit like Job's. I was married on August 8th, 2008 to, my ex-wife, and we ended up having a daughter together. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. The loss of my eyesight was very difficult for her. As a Christian, it's nothing I ever planned on getting divorced. But as the book of Job will tell you, God is good. He restored. I have a wonderful wife, Stephanie. We actually have a 19-month-old daughter, Summer. I hope there's more kids to come.
His resilience is pretty outstanding. He makes a lot of things look easy, even though I know that a lot of things are very difficult for him. It's really important for us to allow him to do things in his own ways instead of interjecting too much and trying to sort of force a traditional way of doing things, finding things, putting things together, and figuring things out. Sometimes he wants to really do it all on his own, and it might take a little more time and it might be unconventional, but it works for him.
Matt no longer wakes up in the middle of the night to monitor overseas markets. He's now started his own business called We Vid It.
The Robinhood app for the film and TV industry. And you can invest in actual securities, actual ownership, equity of, movies and shows.
Can Daddy hold the baby?
What I've learned about myself is I'm resilient. I'm determined to live a normal life, not let this hold me back, overcome the perceptions of my disability and the perceptions of my abilities.
Welcome. Have a good day.
And not let my physical disability dictate my life. When things are peachy, you respect God and love God and faithful. But when things are at the worst, it's like you really learn how to depend on Him. And you learn that you fight your battles praying on your knees. And certainly through these challenges, I've really been thankful for God.
Still to come, she leads one of the top field hockey programs in the country, but see how Nikki Parsley-Blocker spends her time away from the pitch. It's Out of the Office when Flames Central returns.
Welcome to Liberty University's online programs, where living out your calling with integrity is what you train to do. And getting ready for the future doesn't mean missing out on the now. Because a university is more than buildings and books. And an education should set you free, not fence you in. Welcome to Liberty's global campus, where distance learning was pioneered and evolved into one of the top-ranked schools in the nation. Where protecting your budget, your time, and your education isn't just a theory, it's our priority. Here, degrees in your field reflect industry demands and help you get ahead of the competition. Where college comes to you, but you can come to college too. Game day, homecoming, graduation day. Your school, your values, your experience, your choice. Welcome to Liberty University, where we train champions for Christ.
At Liberty University, we don't just believe everyone should have access to higher education, we make it happen. That's why we are offering our Middle America Scholarship to help families like yours by providing over $20,000 over the course of 4 years. Money should not hold you back from the life-changing experience at Liberty University. Find out if you qualify for the Middle America Scholarship today.
welcome back to the show. You know, summer's a great time to get out of the office. At least that's what Emily's always telling me. And it's why we started a series called Out of the Office just a few years back.
Good name. Yeah, it gives us a chance to get to know the coaches, athletes, and staff on a different level away from the court, the field, or in this week's case, the pitch. So Matt, grab your helmet and mountain bike because it's time to hit the trails with head field hockey coach Nikki Parsley-Blocker.
Just allows me to completely unplug. You know, you can't simultaneously be thinking about all the plays you're gonna run while trying not to hit a tree. I got into mountain biking because of my husband. So 3 years ago, I started this little adventure we call mountain biking. Sharing mountain biking with him is incredible. Just to have something that connects you, I think is really, really special. I think it's something not every couple has. Get to not only enjoy hockey together, but then enjoy something that has absolutely nothing to do with field hockey. I'm not used to being bad at things, so I had to go through a lot of falls, a lot of hard times. Mountain biking has taught me patience. It's taught me to be more patient with my athletes.
There you go. Nice line.
Especially because when you're learning something for the first time, it really does translate onto the field because as a coach, you coach the same things every single year, but it's just to different people, to new people. So I think that mountain biking kind of brought that back into perspective for me. That was a better one. I didn't land on my front tire.
Yeah, you looked really good. You sounded really good.
Yeah,
really
it felt good. Mountain biking allows me to still have a competitive aspect of my life. Unfortunately, in the U.S., there's not a lot of opportunities to continue playing hockey anymore at a super high level. It just really allows me to be super competitive, but competitive against myself more than anything else. Getting time away in athletics is huge. I don't think anyone's going to sustain themselves very long in this profession if you don't have things outside of the field where you literally don't have to think about anything else. You know, for some people that's hiking, for some people, if you're by the beach, it's surfing. For me, being in Virginia, it's mountain biking. I think being able to mountain bike literally right outside of the office is unbelievable. It's pretty cool that we have such great local trails. Even though mountain biking takes us around the country, just having that ability after work to literally just hop on the trail is outstanding. Sometimes it's really hard to unplug from work when you're in a high performance environment, when you're trying to chase after a Big East or contend for a national championship, and it just allows you to go and do something that you love that's physical, release endorphins, and yeah, it's awesome. Saved it. As an adult, it's really easy to stop stepping outside of your comfort zone and just get into your niche and do what you are comfortable with and what you're good at. And when I first started my mountain biking, I was terrible at mountain biking. So I really have learned to be more patient with myself and patient with others, you know, when I'm teaching them something new. And not to crash into a tree, you know.
Little known fact, our videographer Doug nearly died on that shoot.
The sacrifice to get the shot for you.
It was his first time riding a bike. We'll cut him some slack. Hey, LibertyFlameCentral.com for any stories you might have missed.
We have a great guest coming on the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage, so make sure you get to see that. For Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next week.